11.10. The most crummy components in the game. Hi, my name is Sama, and today I want to talk about the worst item opener in the game and the worst shadow item in the game. The results will surprise you. So, out of all these items, what do you never pick on Carousel? But before that, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, Eleanor Roosevelt. But I'm pretty sure if you want to have nightmares in your TFT game, you will pick up the rod. So, forewarning, it's not the end of the world if you pick up a rod, nor am I saying there's an imbalance in the components. Rather, there's a preference in the current meta towards the comps like Skirmishers and Draven for attack damage, and Vel'Koz and Teemo for ability power comms. So, for example, Cloak, Sword, both go towards those 80 comms. Belt goes to any tank in the world, and Blue Buff can fit very well in the Teemo comp. Why would Rod be such a bad item? Well, let's take a look at their slams. So in the early game, what you really want to do with the carousel items is slam it early to get as much power. And with the rod, there are only two decent items that I would consider slammable. Jewel Gauntlet and Morello, as you can see on the left. These two are one of the top tier item slams, and I would recommend slamming these if you're going AP or AD. It's a really good item. On the right side, we have decent and trash items. Rageblade and Deathcap are very situational, in which I'll talk about later. And the trash can items, Hextech, Ionics, Shadow Locket, and Archangels all have their own downfall, in which I will talk about later. But first, let's talk about the good slams. So, the good slams include Jewel Gauntlets on Ziggs, Lissandra, Brand, or Syndra. These four units are the best at using Jewel Gauntlet, as they use their ability powers, their abilities multiple times in a fight, and their ability is able to crit multiple times. So using these characters are very insane with Jewel Gauntlet, and I suggest you use it all the time. Callista, Varus, Victor, and Vayne also can use Jewel Gauntlet, but not are as effective as the ones on the left. Morello is a very unique item as it provides a lot of anti-healing reduction, and recently, although Morgana got her nerf as the primary Morello carry, skirmishers have gone a rise, and therefore Kennen with Morellos is a very S tier item with an S tier unit. So Morello on Kennen, Morgana, and Lissandra are very S tier in the early game, while Brand, Varus, and Syndra also can use Morellos to carry throughout stage 3 and 4. So now we talk about the decent items for Rod. These items usually I never slam because I believe can do much better with other stuff. For example, Rage Blade can slam only into Varus and Kale, as they're one of the best in slots for Varus and Kale. Although they can split between Teemo, Heimer, Draven, and Aphelios, if you slam it, Rage Blade is most effective if you put it on Varus or Kale. Similar to Jewel Gauntlet, we have the inferior Jewel Gauntlet, the Death Cap. Death Cap just provides a lot of AP, and I often don't like slamming this item. But if I'm stuck with too many rods, I guess I must. And with the early game, you can put this on Brand, Lissandra, Ziggs. All very good targets, but the power with this Death Cap is just not the same as any other item in the game currently, so that's why it's a decent item. In the trash can, why are these items trash? And it falls in one of these three reasonings. One, there's no good item holder. Two, it falls off. Or three, their components are just better on other items. So for Hextech and Archangel, there's really no early game holder except for Nunu, unless you're playing Nunu, that's of course. Um, for Locket and Ionic, they just truly fall off. They need to find a stronger late game because these 300 HP shields won't last and won't hold against those Dravens or those Vel'Koz blasts. And altogether, their components are for better items as well. For example, Tyr, um, cloak, vest, and sword all become very strong items in the future. And wasting it on one of these items is truly a PD, a player diff. But how about a shadow items? When you have an armory, what item do you not truly want to pick up? Well, you guessed it. It's Shadow Rod. The worst shadow item to pick up in the armory is Shadow Rod. Of course, everything's a little situational, but let's take a look at Shadow Rod. The decent and the bad. So the bads totally outweigh the decents, but let's take a deeper look into the decents. For Jewel Gauntlet, it runs the same units as long as you make sure not to kill your own units with Jewel Gauntlets. It's a pretty good slam, and of course, it's up in the S tier with the other good item slams like Warmogs or any BT item. Shadow Morellos, you no longer have those damage dealers that can hold Morellos. Rather, be, you want to have it purely on Kennen or Morella, or Morgana or Lissandra because of the reduced damage you deal. It's the downside of evil Shadow Morello, and it's really important that you put it on one of these three carries. One item that got promoted out of the trash tier is Ionic Spark. Shadow Ionic has recently gotten a buff, and when put on Hecarim or Poppy, can really provide, a lot of bonus AP. But in the current Trundle meta, I would advise staying away. I would advise staying away from solo frontlining, as Trundle will be able to take a lot of your statistics, a lot of your stats, and use it for himself, which is not always ideal, of course. Looking back at the bad items, Hextech, Deathblade, Locket, Archangel, and Rageblade, these items often have negative value and causes your team to, fall on their head. So um, Shadow Rod is just not the best item to take from Armory, and stay woke. Subscribe to Small on YouTube for more TFT content like this. I'll be posting a video every other day, so subscribe, like, and comment if you want to stay in the loop. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. And before you go, I'm going to ask how you feel about these five units and which one you think is the most contested unit out of all of them. I'll say my pick in three, two, one. Mordekaiser. I think Mordekaiser is a beast, and if you're really interested, I can make a video about why Mordekaiser is so dominant in this current meta. And yes, it includes a lot of Warmark's armor, but thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot from this, and have a nice day. Thank you.